Hello everyone, my name's Marah, and today's case is about Lindsey Baum, who was only 10 years old when she went missing from McCleary, Washington in 2009. And just a quick reminder before we get started, I try to do the best research and get the most accurate information I can for every single case that I cover. But with that being said, let's go ahead and get into today's case. Lindsey Jo Baum was born on July 7th of 1998. She loved writing stories and had dreamed of publishing enough books to fill her family's bookshelves. She loved the books Twilight and Harry Potter. Lindsey was also said to love talking. She also has a brother named Joshua. After her parents' divorce, Melissa, Joshua, and Lindsey moved from Tennessee to McCleary, Washington, hoping to have a fresh start. It's said that McCleary is a small town with a population of 1,600 people, where parents felt comfortable with their kids walking to their friend's house and playing outside. So the evening of June 26th of 2009, Melissa gives permission for Joshua and Lindsey to go over to their friend Michaela's house. So they start their walk over there. On their walk over to her house, they start arguing over a bike. So Joshua decides that he's just going to go home, and Lindsey continues on to her friend's house. The girls play until nighttime, and then they ask if they can have a sleepover. Michaela's mom ends up saying not tonight, so Lindsey goes ahead and starts walking home. And she's trying to hurry because it's around 9:30, and it was said that at this time of the year in McCleary, it wasn't quite dark out yet, but the sun was starting to set. The walk from her friend's house back home was about 4 blocks. Melissa keeps on waiting for her daughter to come home, but by 11 p.m. she's really concerned that Lindsey has not returned back home yet. So Melissa calls the police, and they come and they start searching the local area. They put up missing posters asking for people to keep an eye out for Lindsey, who was last seen wearing a light blue sweatshirt and blue jeans. They checked the forests, bodies of water, and also brought out cadaver dogs to help look for her. Eventually, authorities rule out too that Lindsey was running away from home. She did not bring any personal items, and not that long before this, Melissa had gotten her a cell phone that she had left at home. They continued to search for days. They continued to search the water, the ground, but nothing, unfortunately, was found. Weeks, months, and then eventually years went by. But Melissa never gave up on finding her daughter, Lindsey. When Melissa spoke with the newspaper in 2009, she told them, "I just need my daughter home. Lindsey, please come home. You're not in trouble." Around 50 people were interviewed as persons of interest. And there was also a good amount polygraphed, and around 20 search warrants that were issued. In September of 2017, hunters came across skeletal remains in a remote area of eastern Washington that was heavily wooded with large cliffs and deep ravines. This is about a 2-hour and 44-minute drive from where Lindsey and her family were living. And it took until May of 2018 when the DNA results were released, and it showed that this was Lindsey. It was announced that they had finally brought Lindsey home, but not in the way that anyone was hoping for. Melissa has since started a petition that is on change.org that I will link down below. Melissa mentions that Gray Harbor's Sheriff Department does not have the funding, technology, or the workforce to handle this case. It was said they almost instantly assumed too that Lindsey had just run away, which her mom said that there's no way since she had left her phone, she had no money, no way of surviving, getting anywhere, and she was also afraid of the dark. And since the partial remains had been found in 2017, there had been little to no movement on Lindsey's case. But now Darren Wallace has become the Grays Harbor County Sheriff. Within the first 10 days of him being in office, he had set up meetings with the FBI, the local county sheriff office, and Rose Winquist and team, who is a private investigator for Lindsey. Melissa also requested that the Cold Case Investigative Research Institute be brought on, and Sheriff Wallace was able to help make that happen. They have been able to identify several persons of interest, including a man who lived outside of McCleary who was served with a search warrant back in October of 2009. It was said this man was having strange conversations about Lindsey, and he also had been accused of SA before Lindsey's abduction and murder. But there was no evidence found in his home, so no arrest was ever made. In February of 2012, a store surveillance camera was released to the public, and it was asking to identify the man that was in this video footage because he was a person of interest in Lindsey's case. The man was identified as Tim Hartman, the owner of Hartman's Jewelry and Repair in McCleary. He did give false information to authorities about what he was doing the night of Lindsey's disappearance, and they found out that he'd been in McCleary and that he even went out and helped search for Lindsey that night. He then went home and tried to sleep, but around 1 a.m., he ends up going back out and searching and runs into Melissa. And he gives her a ride to a creek where Lindsey liked to play, and they search together. Tim says, though, the police are wasting their time, their money on this investigation and damaging his reputation. Another possibility of who could have potentially did this is three brothers, Charles Emery, 82, Thomas Emery, 80, and Edwin Emery, 78. They were arrested in 2014 for child pornography and sexual abuse charges. Their house was filled with child porn, toys, and children's shoes. Authorities also found writing about satanic sacrifices of minor children. There also was Lindsey's missing poster found in their home. But there was not enough evidence, so they were never arrested for the disappearance and murder of Lindsey. I mean, all of this, it just makes me sick to my stomach. I feel so horrible for this little 10-year-old girl who was just walking home from a friend's house, and how terrifying and horrible. Whoever did this is just a horrible, horrible human. It's so selfish and so sad. I also feel for her mom and her family who had to sit around for years and wonder, is she okay? Is she going to come home? Is she being taken care of? There's so many different things that would just constantly be running through your head, wondering if your little girl is okay. Now I hope they're able to just find this monster that took her life. Melissa carries her daughter's only known remains as ashes that are secured inside a pendant necklace. She also said, "My daughter deserves to rest in peace. She was a beautiful, bright 10-year-old little girl. She was a 10-year-old little girl. There was no reason for anybody to take her other than sick, vile things." There is a reward of up to $40,000 for any information leading to the arrest and conviction of those who are responsible. I hope this family and Melissa are able to get the answers that they all deserve. Lindsey deserves justice. But if you know anything, have any information, I'm going to link everything down below where you can sign this petition, where you can contact the private investigator or even the sheriff's department there. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all next time. Bye.